Good morning, Killer Wildcats. This is Mrs. Engel coming at you today on Wednesday, April 15th, going over the graduation speech assignment. So it is a tradition at Keller Junior High for 8th grade students to write a graduation speech. We will continue to honor this tradition in a post. There are digital support systems for you to get started to complete your speech. So I kind of like this PowerPoint because it kind of talks about how there's a graduation speech brainstorming, looking at the road ahead. The objectives, why we are writing this speech, is so that you can learn to know your audience and you can use your voice to move and motivate people. I always tell students, I really don't care what field you get into, if you're going to be an auto mechanic, if you're going to be a contractor, if you're going to be a doctor, a teacher, you are going to have to talk to people and you're going to have to motivate them or inform them about your business, about your procedure, about what you're going to be doing. And so this actually does give you practice, whether or not you're actually chosen to give the speech at graduation or not. It's good practice to learn how to know who your audience is and how to use your voice to move it forward and to motivate people. So sometimes you want to think about what inspires you. What does that word mean to you and why? Because that's the purpose of the speech, is to inspire people. And you're also thinking about it's a transition, okay? And sometimes transitions can be a little bit scary. Now, we're not talking about transitions in your writing or in your reading. We're talking about when you move from one stage in life to another, such as your 8th grade graduation, your high school graduation, transitioning from being able to not drive to drive, things like that. And those words can actually trigger a whole bunch of other words in your mind. And when you transition, there are often concerns, there are often lessons that you learn from that transition, and there are also future hopes that you have for that transition. So when you're going to inspire someone, you're trying to alleviate maybe their concerns. You're trying to think about past good times that they've had or lessons that they've learned. And you also kind of want to address their future hopes as well. Your audience wants to know, why are you speaking to them? Again, in this case, it's to inspire them, how you can help them by alleviating those concerns and what they can specifically do to move themselves forward. This is where you're going to give them tips and hope and reminders that they already have what it takes inside from the past lessons that they have learned. So as you watch the videos, so this week, either in this PowerPoint, and there might even be some more that are posted, or you can actually go and think about other graduation speeches on your own. You're thinking about, what was that person's purpose? Did they alleviate any concerns or worries some people may have for the future? How specifically did these people inspire others? What techniques did you notice that they used? A lot of times people will use metaphors or quotes or humor. Some people might even use unique things, like putting things into a rap or a rhyme. And then, were there any other takeaways that you had? So before we begin, everything you need to write your own speech and complete this assignment is posted in your language arts classroom. And I will be going through all of those different things, as well as how you can kind of start creating your own assignment. And then attached to this, you're going to see there are multiple examples of student speeches, and more may be posted at the same time. So now it's your turn. You got this. So this assignment has two options, and you can choose one, or you can blend the two if it works to you. And technically, if you're a higher level thinker, I've even had some students do a third option, which is kind of using a transition like a metaphor. I've heard some people talk about how school was like the softball team that she was on, or how it's like a painting. So you could also use that as like a third option as well. Oh, here we go. So this is like more of like, we gave you templates if you need more help and structure. Okay. And there are probably like 4 different templates that you could use if that is going to help you. Template number 1, it talks about the 2 different options. Option 1, you're reflecting on your educational life and experiences till now. So you're really thinking about kind of like your elementary school and junior high experiences. What have they taught you? What have you accomplished? How have you grown? So those are the things that you're thinking about. Option number 2 is you're going to reflect on your educational life and experiences until now, but what you're really going to focus on is thinking about your hopes, dreams, and aspirations for the future. So kind of thinking about like giving people tips and advice about how they can navigate high school coming up, which is brand new, based on either things you've learned from transitioning from different schools, from elementary to junior high, and or many of you have older siblings and they've kind of given you tips and tricks as well. And then there's just like a blank canvas, a blank space below to actually write your speech. So what you could do if you use this option is you could go to Google, you could go to your drive, and then you could just hit new, and you're going to create that Google document. Oh, I don't want a folder. I want an actual document. Come on. There we go. Google Doc. Now, what I would do instead of call it untitled document, because that is something that I've seen so many students do, you actually are going to want to label it. Now, you might be tempted to label it like graduation speech, but if Mrs. Angel and I get tons and tons of graduation speeches, it might be hard to differentiate who is who. So what I would really kind of recommend is you use your last name and your first name, maybe even the period, although we kind of know. Let's say I'm in first, and then I would say like graduation speech 2020, something like that. So if you could label it, especially with your last name and the period, that way if we're searching and we're trying to help you, it's a lot easier to find. And if you want, you can either just start on this blank page right here, or again, you can go here, you can copy all of this, or you can say make copy, right? And then rename it with your last name here. That's another way to do that. Either way, what I'm going to ask and what Mrs. Angel and I and maybe your other teachers are going to check on, this is an important key fact that I noticed that a lot of you don't do, okay? Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to at least copy this link. You have 2 different options. Now, it looks different from the teacher version versus the student work. When you're in the student work, you can just say add assignment and you can attach it directly from Google. Another way to do it is you can go into the class comment, you can paste in your link there and hit submit, okay? But I would still do that under your name and not necessarily under the stream. This way we can see what your progress is among the weeks that you're doing this, as well as you'll see later I'm going to schedule office hours to help students if they need that help. And then also, even if you don't need that help, Mrs. Angel and I will be going in and giving you virtual comments like we've been doing all year. So that's one of the options. If you're someone who needs a little bit more structure, we have this one. It's called option 1, organizer for support. So here is option 1. And then basically we kind of give you where you can just kind of fill it in on the side. But you're going to notice some students might be kind of, my cat is going crazy below the table. So sorry if you hear a lot of scratching and weird noises or meowing. Hashtag teaching from home. Okay. So you're going to notice that this says students can only view the file. So that might be confusing to some students. If you need this graphic organizer, what I would highly recommend, either organizer 1 or organizer 2, it's the same things. You'll also notice on these organizers, if you just kind of type step by step into these things, like you'll want your introduction, you'll want a hook, you'll want a clear thesis. These are still things that we need you to do. There's possible themes that you might want to think about in your speech. And then in addition, we are going to have coming up here a student example that I'll show you. I also give you an example of the types of things that you might type in here. In addition to all these different themes, you're going to notice, my cat is freaking out. You're going to notice graduation speech idea bank. So if you don't like anything in the options here, there's a whole bunch of ideas. So again, maybe one paragraph might be concerns, and then another paragraph could be advice, and then another paragraph could be things to look forward to. That's like almost a fourth way that you could write your speech. Or you can use these as possible themes in your speech if you don't like the other themes that are given in the graphic organizers. So if you're choosing a more structured graphic organizer, again, I would probably tell you to make a copy. Say okay. And then you wait. Da, 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 da. Okay, but where it says copy, as soon as this little wheel of death stops turning, almost there, getting closer. Not quite. You want to wait until this is done spinning, I think. Okay, I guess you can do it before it's done spinning. You're going to want to put your last name, your first name, and then your period, okay? In addition to that, again, you're going to want to either copy this and go back here. Yours will look very different. In this corner, it will say, instead of like add rubric, it'll have a little plus button where you can add your assignment. So you would click that, and it should be one of the very first things that you can add and submit. That's option 1. Option 2 is, again, you can put in like a private comment. It should be, mine looks a little bit different than yours. Again, you can put this here and then hit comment. But again, I would do it underneath your name and not necessarily the whole class. Okay? All right. So going back to here, you have 2 different options, and technically you might even have 3 or 4. Okay? Then you're going to draft your speech. And I showed you how you can do that, either on a blank document here, by copying and pasting, or by making a copy. That's all going to be up to you. If you need help with that, I'll show you. I'm also going to post in here graduation speech office hours help. Okay? You can fill in your last name, you can fill in your first name, and just, do you need help with the introduction, the body paragraph, the conclusion, all parts of the speech? You're going to check one of those and you're going to hit submit. And then I, Mrs. Engel, am going to create like a little schedule, and I will post that in classroom. And in addition, I will also send you a personal email about when your time and day is to get that one-on-one or small group help. Okay? And we'll do that via Google Meets. So, a rubric is posted for you for the categories that will be providing feedback. So this is how you will be graded based on your ideas, your organization, your voice, your sentence fluency. You will eventually be presenting this one way or the other, and your conventions, okay? And this is going to be worth 24 points toward your grade. Now, you'll notice on these other graphic organizers, they look a little bit more different. Introduction, hook, clear thesis, things like that. And they also have like a 4, 3, 2, 1. So if you actually do this and follow this rubric, you will automatically line up with this one as well. Your ideas will be clear, your organization will be there, your voice will be there. Then the only thing we need to kind of look at is that sentence fluency in the presentation part. So even though the organizers are a little bit different, you'll notice the points are still the same, and you still get the same grade. Okay. So we went through all the different organizers. We went through the rubric. So again, there are several supports of how to get started, the graduation speech bank, all kinds of things to think about. There's also a student model posted for you in the Organizer 1. In the Organizer 2, there's also another student speech example posted here. Okay, it's really good to see that some people are online checking out the student examples already, so thank you. Here's another organizer if you're more like a step 1, 2, 3. So there's various organizers here, and there's a lot of different supports, which can be kind of overwhelming. So today, if you can just kind of look at all of the different things and then actually start creating your document and then attaching it. Oops, sorry, I closed out of it already. And then attach it to here, that would probably be good enough. And then, God, my cat is going crazy and I don't know what the problem is. So what I would probably recommend is just looking at all of the materials today, familiarizing yourself, and then uploading your document. And then today's Wednesday. Thursday, maybe start working on your introduction. Friday, maybe body paragraph 1. Monday, I would kind of like do these together. So I would probably do like body paragraph 1 and explanation together. Monday, I might start working on explanation number 2 together. Some of you might even kind of go the exceeds route and do a body paragraph 3. So Wednesday, you could do that or the conclusion. And then by Thursday and Friday, maybe start getting help, email us, have us check it out, look at it, start making revisions, and things like that, so that you'd be good to go for Friday. Okay, so there's the outline, the graphic organizer, and we will keep you updated on the delivery format as we continue to receive updates about returning to in-person learning. The rough draft is due Friday, April 24th. Again, if you need help, you're just going to fill out this nice little form here and we'll get back to you. If you have any further questions, please feel free to email us, and I hope that you have a good day.